Greetings, ones and ones. Here again to share my proceeds. Elotuko Sankofa Ezioko Desavant, also known as Cleon George Carr. Today I decided to do this video in kind of like a park setting, which is really in a little downtown kind of area. So you will hear the background sounds going. To begin this sharing, I'm going to give the aspects of a dream that I had. In the dream, there were some children walking around in kind of like a downtown area, and they were walking around in the innocence of children, and in so doing they came across two bodies, two persons who have transitioned and their bodies were there. And I'm going to focus on the second body that they saw, which is a deceased female. And they witnessed the decomposition of the female, which represents the feminine. And how I interpret this is that there's a high sign of grieving season for those who choose to be aware, particularly with the familial units, because the feminine more represents the family. And another aspect too is that we are in summer, which is Cancer season, and Cancer, as it represents the zodiac, represents family. To reference the calendar that my partner and I have, Cancer is also the Nekbet season, and Nekbet references the Kemet deity, and this deity is representing decomposition, digestion. So what I'm getting from the dream is that we are in the height of this season of Nekbet, the height of this season, Cancer, dealing with family, dealing with digestion. What is it in the family that needs to be digested? And I know that with my family, I'm talking about the traumas that need to be digested. And one of the things that's happening with me that I'm sharing with my family is I'm about to go into the psych ward to have an evaluation. And this evaluation is a part of the schizophrenic process that I'm going through, because I'm experiencing heightened states of awareness as it relates to trauma in the collective and within myself, my personal self, and within my familial unit. As I sense these traumas, it gets challenging at times to deal with all the trauma. And helping my soul, me and my partner, we've decided that it's best to go into the hospital to have a psych evaluation. Okay, so the other aspect of the dream is tying into what I've been seeing on social media. Spirit has led me to certain channels to witness the happenings in the soul of the earth. And one of the things that is happening is that nature is showing a lot of signs as it relates to people interacting with trees, as there's a tree behind me, where there's ones and ones speaking to trees, and the trees are responding to them. As I'm also witnessing within nature, there is the units, because trees have a familial unit in terms of the plant kingdom, and in the animal kingdom, the animated kingdom, the animals are also gathering in groups, in familial units, and exhibiting strange behaviors. So what I'm sensing in the collective is the trauma. It's trauma season, high trauma season, and these are the symptoms of the traumas. So as people are witnessing these traumas, they're not, what I'm witnessing in people witnessing the traumas is that they're not handling their own personal trauma. So the behaviors seem weird because they're unconventional. And what I read is that things are changing in that manner. So as I'm seeing two butterflies interacting with each other, to me it seems very normal, because what that is saying to me is nature is transforming in a beautiful way. So what people are calling weird and strange is me witnessing nature being transformative in her soul in a beautiful way. In these instances, the digestion process is unfamiliar to those who are not taking care of their trauma. And as a result, it seems weird. They don't know what to make of it, because it's something that hasn't been seen readily before. And that is it as it relates to the dream, and me referencing traumas to the dream, as well as what I'm witnessing, the collective witness in nature. With that as an introduction to the message of healing that I have, I'm emphasizing, as I'm always going to do, emphasize taking care of our trauma. The trauma that I'm facing right now, as I'm hearing the birds and the cars and the butterflies, I'm reminded of our importance here as humans. As humans, we tend to not have the awareness that we are more than human beings, that we have a soul, and that soul is incarnate into the human being. The human being the flesh, being the physical aspect of the soul that has been incarnated physically. So we tend as human beings, to be physical as opposed to be spiritual. So we tend to be unbalanced, because when you're focused on the human aspect of your being as opposed to the totality of your being, then you are unbalanced. And being unbalanced, you don't have the full experience. You don't have the total awareness of what it is that is happening. So I want to focus on that, which is when you become physical, you objectify things. A question that I hear in the collective is, what would the earth be without humans? what would the earth be without humans? And today I walked through a neighborhood, and as I walked through that neighborhood, there was an instance where I saw some teenagers, and within my being, that scene stimulated a sense of fear. And I was asking myself, where's this fear coming from? This sense of fear. And it's in it's in the memory of scenes that I've witnessed on screens, like on television screens, on TV, on phone screens, computer screens, that showed me a depiction of what this scene is and how it is to be interpreted based on the experience that was being shown on the screen. And on that screen, on those screens, based on the individuals that were there making up the neighborhood, the people interacting with the nature of the neighborhood, it was presented as something to be feared. So I remembered that and equated that to the scene being projected. As I did that and I asked a question, I realized that, hey, it is humans who make the scene. We are the ones who have the perception of the scene that is there. And I'm reminded of the narrative within my soul that the world is our creation. We are creators of whatever it is that is there. We as human beings are the creators. We are the creators, you can say we are the co-creators. So I created myself and I created everyone else. I created everything and everything created me. So with that memory, it is objectifying to say, what if humans weren't here? You can pose it as a question to have that experience. However, for me and the memory that I have, I see that that is objectifying the creation. And when you objectify the creation, you hide yourself from that which you have created. So now in that hiding, you allow the ego to protect you in a certain way. And as you allow the ego to protect you in that way, you're going to hide from the trauma. Because what the trauma that I see one who objectifies in this way is that they don't want to hold themselves accountable for what it is they're witnessing. Because what I'm witnessing is nature, a beautiful thing. And when it is that I'm witnessing nature or witnessing this beautiful thing and I have the perception that this is an ugly thing, then I have to check myself and see where it is that I have projected ugliness onto this thing, because now I have a trauma. It's only, let me not say only, it is the misappropriation of perception that is going to lead to seeing beauty as ugly. So when you objectify things, you're going to make it into an ugly thing. Now, what's coming up in my mind is there such a thing as an ugly thing? And yes, there is such a thing as ugly. Because evil is an ugly thing. Chaos is an ugly thing. At the same time, understanding that chaos is an ugly thing It is in that understanding of that thing being ugly that I understand and overstand that it is to be held in love and as such be seen for its totality as a beautiful thing. However, it is not to be disrespectful and not see the thing for what it is as an ugly thing. In totality, it's beautiful. As a thing that is held separate, which evil is held separate because it itself will never accept that it is good. And as such, respecting that evil has that lacking in itself. I see it as an ugly thing in respect for itself, and in the totality of love, I see it as a beautiful thing. So there is such a thing as something being ugly. There is such a thing as a person being ugly. There is no such thing as a being, a human being that is ugly. They can be ugly, but them as a source, as love lights the truth that is within them, they can never be ugly. They can be held as being ugly, but they themselves can never be in their essence ugly. All humans are beautiful. All races are beautiful. All things are beautiful when held in love. So that is the message of healing as it relates to having a trauma and dealing with the trauma and transmuting the trauma that I have at this moment. Again, I say my name to integrate my soul into my body through my spirit. My name is Elochukwu Sankofa Ezioku Desavan, also known as Cleon George Carr. And I am a spiritual being having a human experience, as we all are. And as I resonate this sound of truth to you, should you choose to do so, like, comment, subscribe, and share this message as you see fit. Ashe.